Hey guys, Kaido here with another video as promised. Today we will be talking about evolves. I noticed for a while now that people are struggling on what to evolve on Kha'zix, and I hope this video helps with all your problems. There are 4 sections of this video to try to help you understand how Kha'zix functions as a champion. Now let's get into the video. Kha'zix is a champion that has to be ahead of the curve, meaning he has to have more gold and XP than the opponent, so he always can impact the map. Dying on him results in you falling behind and eventually not able to do enough damage to where the enemy should not need to be scared of you. When you are strong on him, the opponents should be afraid of fog and need to have multiple people to face check bushes or they are dead. Teamfights are just quite simple. You have high mobility, and if you have double evolve, you just create so much space by existing and playing in their face, to where if they misstep, that's an opportunity to be made. The more they pay attention to you, the less they will be thinking about your carries or engagers, and vice versa. The team with Kha'zix needs to understand this. Okay, now what do evolves do for the new players to Kha'zix? Q evolve increases your auto and Q range by 50. It also reduces the cooldown by 45% if the target is isolated. W slows and reveals them. E evolve, you get a bigger cast range and can reset off enemy champions. Lastly, R evolve, your stealth increases to 2 seconds and you get 3 charges instead of 2. Now, we have 5 different evolve orders, which I'll go more in depth with in the next few slides. From all of these, I prefer the standard and high tempo one, just because I believe the times you should lock this champion is when Q evolve is good, because you can really take over games taking all neutrals and one-v-1ing anyone on your screen, which is his biggest strength, in my opinion. Either way, let's get into the first routes. The standard evolve route, most players should be comfortable with this route, and if you are not, you should. As it says on your screen, it's not possible to go wrong with the setup. At all points in the game, your evolve has a use. When you do evolve them, Kha'zix is a champion that needs to be ahead of the curve. How do you do that? Well, you need to have your gold and XP very high, which Q helps with extremely well, with being able to farm camps faster, and do neutrals faster, and be able to duel champions 1v1 very well. W evolve is just one of the reasons why Kha'zix is very annoying to play against later on. You will know the W slows you for so much and can make a lot of space, which is very annoying to teamfight against. As for your last 2 evolves, I would say it's preference, honestly, but to simplify it, you should really be going E if you're a piss smurfing and really confident in your ability to carry, or if it's just really easy to get resets and you have the setup for it. R evolve is just to play in their face, as you have increased stealth time and a extra charge to just be extra annoying. The next one is the high tempo routes. You cannot make mistakes on this route, as it will lose you a lot of XP. You're going Q into R, as it will help you eat everything on the map. Your job is to keep pressuring the game and make the opponent have a hard time to breathe, literally. As for your last evolve, you just look at the game pace, which is what you should constantly be doing on Kha'zix, or even as a jungler in general. You need to adapt to what the game is trying to tell you at all times. Every second in the game, something's happening, something will change, and you need to adapt towards it, or you will simply just get dizzy and not be able to carry the game. To be a good carry jungler is not easy, and you need to be ready for anything. Same thing with E, which is, well, E evolve, which is if resets are easy to get, you go E. W, you legit cannot go wrong, it's just too broken teamfighting, so I hope you see a pattern here now from the video. Now the noob stomping build. When you know you will just complete 1v9, or like the enemy team comp is so terrible that they will drop like flies. Your second evolve, you must be very confident to be allowed to go E. When you die for free, when you do this evolve, the game will feel very bad, and sometimes even feel like you've thrown the game versus good players, because you might not have enough damage to kill them anymore, or they'll have strong vision control, which will be hard to retake. Because think about it. Let's say, for example, the enemy team is able to face check bushes because they aren't afraid, and your team, because you have Kha'zix, you might need more resources to be able to retake, which can just become a loop of tempo loss on your side. Dying is just not good for the game when you do this route, so you have to perform. This route is probably the most popular from the Kha'zix OTPs. I actually believe this route is currently good on patch 14.10 because of the EXP changes. Before, I felt the game pace was too quick to do this, most of your games, but now I think you are actually allowed to go for it more often than usual. The main point of this route is to play for level 11, where you become legit Thanos in being annoying and slippery. You have the choice to go W or E second, which will of course depend on what? The game pace. Level 16, when you achieve all 3 evolves, you are one of the most disgusting champions to deal with if the player pilots him well. Though, when we look at the pros and cons, I want to specifically talk about the con where farming is slower unless you go profane. You do really need profane to farm, as without it, it's too slow. You have no Q evolve, and you're legit trying to scale, so this item helps you with keeping the game pace good for yourself. And you need to be very selfish with this build, because your main goal is try to get to 11 fast, which will allow you to get to 16, which is where you're very OP. Now, I really hope you don't need to experience this one, but for whoever has watched my stream in the past, there are legit games where I preach W evolve is very broken here, either because the game pace of my champ is too shit, or I'm just versus a unplayable team comp where I just need to slave for the boys. When you play the champ enough and understand League more, you will understand that W evolve some games are just needed. You cannot AFK farm every game. That's not real as a jungler. Defaulting R evolve like a lot of COD players do, from what I've seen, doesn't work just like that when you're in high elo. In good games, people are constantly pressuring the map. You can't sit there and eat your burger and piss chill. That is just bad League of Legends. If you're unable to play for neutrals in those type of games, using Q evolve, just go with W evolve. So at least when there is a skirmish or final lane 2v2, 3v3, you can be there to press W. Now, let's play a small minigame. As you can see, there are 2 sides, blue and red side. In this example, your red side Kha'zix versus these champions. Which evolve order do you think is the best? A, B, C, or D? It can be any. I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it. Pause the video if you need. I'll explain why I went this evolve route afterwards. The answer is B. I also put the screenshot of the game. Why did I go R into E into W? Well, when you look at the enemy team comp, I find it quite difficult to get Q value this game, as they will be very grouped. Samira is always paired with Nautilus, and Wukong has a decoy, plus wants to play with Orianna Ball. And now Y for E second, you can go W, but I go E here, because of my comp actually. Gragas, Hui, and Rel all create very good space for me against the enemy comp, so finding resets can be quite easy, and of course W evolve cause it's just so OP. Now the next one. Look at both comps. We are versus the matchup of the gods, Kha'Zix versus Rengar. What evolve should we go here? Again, I'll give you 10 seconds, and if you need to pause the video, go ahead. Which one of these 5 are correct? The answer is E. Now why E? Q evolve is very important in this game, especially for your matchup. Another thing to note is that you have setup in all 3 lanes, but you really want to look at mid a lot this game. You need Q evolve to be able to fight Rengar. Kha'Zix is weaker pre-6 versus Rengar, but is actually stronger than Rengar post-6 until he hits like 2+ items. Of course, if the game is low kills and neither jungle is just getting, well, if Rengar is getting spoon-fed, right? So this is when you really need to control the game pace and objectives, and finding him to kill him or deny camps to slow down his scaling is very good. Rengar scales exceptionally well as a champion. Now for the second evolve, you can decide on either R or W. Never E, as getting resets is quite difficult in this game. The second evolve is more for preference, but again, to simplify it, W is if you think you cannot control the game pace on your own to shut down the Rengar and Fiora, so that means you are relying on Nyla and Azir for the mid to late game. R evolve if you are very strong and it can still fight against these champions. Okay, for the last one for the video, let's look at both comps. What can the evolve order be? If you didn't get the last 2 ones correct, for sure you get this one. Now, what evolve should we go here? 10 seconds start now. If you need to pause the video, go ahead. And the answer is D. It can be literally any of these three. And why? Because this is the game that I'm talking about where your champion is extremely strong. The enemy cannot deal with you. I do like Q Evolve the most here, though, in my opinion, as it helps you fight anyone early game, because they shouldn't be allowed to, and you have some very interesting lanes, like Varus into Garen and the mid matchup with Yasuo. These two lanes have heavy prowess, so invading is very OP. And what did we learn from earlier? If you Q Evolve, track the enemy jungler, steal camps, kill the guy, eat all neutral objectives, Grubs, Drake, how do they exactly win? Gwen's only realistic lane is bot, but if you shut her down in the jungle early, the enemy team just cannot breathe. That's all I have for today's video, guys, but I hope that helped you learn like a couple things on evolves. If you have any questions or comments on today's content, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll try to respond to every comment whenever I can. Make sure to check out our Discord. Link is also down below in the description. If anyone has like any suggestions on like what kind of videos they want to see, please let me know. I do plan on making a well, it's more like, I mean, I was gonna do it for Kindred, but like what jungles might to go and what the what's the uses pretty much. When you should go, then maybe what certain champs should be going in general. But yeah, any other suggestions is nice. I'm still in work in progress on my tracking video. I'm trying to format it in the best way possible. It's gonna take a lot of work, but I hope when I do finish it, it's gonna be the biggest banger. I hope you guys all learn from it. But either way, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.